You're not being detained.
So am I free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest you.
Welcome to the UK, Assessor. Over here, we break down encounters between the public and the police. We examine the law, the conduct, and the context so you know your rights, their responsibilities, and where the line is drawn. This episode is brought to us by Pine News. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor Pinocchi is filming outside a police station. When officers approach him, already speaking as if something has happened, except nothing has. There's no complaint read out. No offense explained, just straight into demands for his details. When he asks what power they're using, the answers don't land. Instead of clarity, it's pressure. Instead of legislation, it's attitude. The situation escalates to threats of arrest. Yet, the basic question, under what law, never seems to get a straight response. And that's where this one starts to get uncomfortable.
What do you want?
Can I take your details?
Am I obliged to?
Well, obviously with the current climate, you're acting a bit strangely filming a police station.
No, I just told you what I'm doing. Photography's not a crime. I'm sat here, I'm waiting to get some pictures of a police car going in and out of the police station to finish off a story that I've been working on.
Yeah,
So I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws.
do you mind not putting that in my face?
Well, it's not in your face and you came up to me, so...
Yeah, because you're filming a police station.
Well, that's not against the law though, is it?
No, but it's suspicious, strange behaviour.
It is quite suspicious.
No, I don't think it is. And terrorism or current climate has nothing to do with it. Terrorism in Waterloo Hill, I don't think so.
It can happen anywhere, and it would cause us concern that you're sat here constantly filming a police station.
Well, why are you saying constantly?
Because
I've been sat here for 20 minutes waiting for a car to come round the corner to go into the police station, which is what I wanted to capture.
Which we did.
Yeah.
So once that happened, I'd expect you to stop.
Yeah, you continued to film.
Because you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
And left. If that was
because you got out of the car and then you started walking over here.
The first words out of their mouths aren't questions, they're demands. No attempt to establish context, no effort to clarify what's actually wrong, just straight to personal information as though a camera automatically triggers suspicion. Labeling filming as strange doesn't convert it into criminal. It's a subjective reaction, not a legal threshold. When they lean on the current climate to justify digging for his details, that's where it falls. A broad reference to global tensions doesn't create grounds in a specific moment. If recording a public building were inherently tied to terrorism, it would be unlawful across the board. And it isn't.
Now you just turned yours on.
Mine's on already.
Alright, well that's fine. Well, that's fine. You're recording me and I'm recording you. But I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws. Okay? And being suspicious is not a crime either.
You can appreciate though, given the current climate and terrorism being an issue, you are sat here.
There's no terrorism in Waterlooville. Yeah. Oh, I understand why you come over to speak to me, but coming over and like, oh, we'll get your details, blah blah blah, I'm not obliged to do that.
Obviously, I'm engaging in a conversation with you.
Yeah. And I told you what I was.
I'm PC Morris.
I told you what I was doing.
Waterlooville Police Station. All I asked was for your details. And you could introduce yourself.
I explained to you what I was doing.
And I understand that. All I asked was for your details, for your name.
Yeah, no, you don't need my name.
No?
No, because you stick it in your computer and it stays there forever.
It's not that. It was honestly from me to engage in a conversation with you. Appreciate it.
I've just spoken to my sergeant as well.
Yeah.
Under the Terrorism Act, with the climate is severe and the way you're acting, I will need your details.
Reframing it as a friendly introduction doesn't line up with the body language. Notebook open, pen ready, straight to personal information before anything resembling a greeting. That isn't how you start a normal conversation. That's how you start recording someone. The explanation feels like it was built after the fact to soften how it looked on camera. Then it gets worse. Instead of grounding the interaction in something tangible, the other officer disappears to consult a sergeant and returns armed with the suggestion of using terrorism legislation. That is telling. When frontline officers can't articulate a clear basis, escalation becomes the fallback. And if a supervising officer is willing to greenlight that stretch, it points to a deeper issue.
So please provide me your
I'm not
details,
obliged to give you my
or it's
details
an
because
arrestable offence.
I haven't broken
I can also
the
seize
law.
recording equipment if you are filming the police station under the current climate severe. Okay.
It is an
That's not.
And
No, it's not. That's
anyone watching
You're
your
not providing
videos.
you can't seize my
Anyone
equipment.
watching your videos that you are currently, say you're live streaming,
Yeah.
will probably agree that under terrorism at the moment, with the risk as it is.
Now this is live streaming because if you take my phone, it's not on my
I'm
phone.
explaining to you, I'm explaining to you the reasons why I'm speaking to you, and all I am requesting for is your details. I'm not going to.
I'm not obliged to get. I've not broken no
If
laws.
you don't give us your details, it gives us grounds to arrest. It's
No, it's not.
to arrest
No, it's
you.
not. That's unlawful arrest. No, that is unlawful arrest.
Failure to give a
I've
name
not
and
broken
address.
no laws, so that would be an unlawful arrest.
Under the Terrorism Act, I'm requiring your name and address because of your behaviour.
Terrorism Act.
The logic flips on its head at this point. Instead of identifying a lawful basis first, they suggest that not handing over details somehow creates the offense itself. That isn't how arrest powers function. A refusal doesn't magically generate grounds. The grounds have to exist independently. The idea that recording equipment can simply be taken because someone won't provide a name shows a serious misunderstanding of seizure powers, which require clear statutory authority and necessity, not irritation. And when the notebook reappears yet again, it becomes obvious what the priority has been all along. The focus isn't on an identifiable crime. It's about filling in a line on a page.
I've actually got written permission to sit here and do this.
Right, well, why didn't you tell us that? Can you show us that, please?
Where's your written permission? It's
That's not a public
police
place.
station. A police station's not a public place.
Well, it's still paid for by the public, isn't it?
It's not a public place though. Under the
Well, this
definition of
where I am
public
is a public
Yeah,
place,
you're right there.
and I'm allowed to film anything I can see from a public place.
Within reason, but if your actions go beyond that and are suspicious.
Well, my actions aren't gone beyond that. I've told you exactly what I'm doing. It's to finish off the end of my social experiment blog that I was making.
Well, you're still filming now, so it's.
I'm filming now for my own protection.
Protection from what?
From you. You're standing there threatening to arrest me under terrorism.
No, I'm asking for your
We asked for
name
your
and details.
And which I'm not obliged to give you unless I've been arrested for a crime.
I don't feel like we've given you any cause for concern about our behaviour.
Well, he's threatening to arrest me under the
He's not
Terrorism Act,
threatening
which
to
you couldn't
arrest
even
you.
quote to me.
He's not threatening
I'm not
to
going to quote
arrest
every
you.
part of the law.
You're telling me,
I don't
by me
memorise
not
the
giving
law
you my
word for word.
details,
That's not my job.
you told me by not giving you my details is an arrestable offence, which it isn't.
It says a lot that Pinocchi is the one producing written legislation while the officers rely on memory and assumption. When he hands them the wording, that should be the moment the conversation resets. Facts on paper remove the guesswork. Instead, one officer tries to redefine the setting entirely by claiming the station isn't a public place. Whether a building is funded by taxpayers isn't even the key issue here. The decisive point is location, and Pinocchi is positioned on publicly accessible ground. That distinction matters. If he's lawfully present where the public can stand, the attempt to blur boundaries doesn't hold. Then comes the remark that quoting the law isn't his job. That line gives the whole dynamic away. If you're invoking statutory powers, understanding and articulating them absolutely is part of the job.
Not permission for you to sit here
Which
from
it
the
isn't.
police station, which is what you've just proposed to
I am perfectly entitled to sit here and film a police station from a public space. In fact, I can even give you the law on photography. There you go.
It says that you do not need a permit to film or
No,
photograph
I don't.
in a public place. It doesn't say anything about filming or taking photographs from a place that isn't public. Photography on private land is not restricted if the landowner has given permission.
I'm on public land.
Yeah, but what we're
But I
talking
can
about
still
is the fact that you're
I
filming
can-
the police station, which is not
From
your house.
that's not a house though, is it?
No, but it's not a public place.
Yeah, but if someone wants to stand outside my house in the public and film it, they're allowed to do that by law.
No,
There is no law
there'll
that's
be-
no, there's no
there'll be
law.
laws against
No, there's not.
Right.
No, there's not.
Ask if there's permission from one of the bosses in there.
I don't need permission to film the police station from a public
No,
space.
as I said, my suspicions are about your behaviour. It's all very strange.
What's suspicious about my behaviour? Do you think I'm a terrorist?
You're not talking to me normally.
Have I got any bombs in my bag?
You're quite defensive about the fact that...
Yes, because you've come over here to stop me. You're trying to stop me from filming.
Her response misses the point entirely. The absence of a sentence explicitly allowing filming doesn't create a prohibition. That isn't how the law operates. In public, you're generally free to record what you can lawfully see, unless a specific restriction applies. There's no blanket rule banning the act of pointing a camera at a building simply because someone inside dislikes it. When that angle falls apart, the focus shifts to his behavior, as though asserting rights or asking for clarity somehow transforms lawful activity into suspicion. Being firm isn't an offense. Asking questions isn't obstruction. Reframing composure as defensiveness is just another attempt to stretch discomfort into justification.
I'm finishing my blog.
You wouldn't even provide me an
Well, that's because I don't need to.
All this amounts...
Because I'm not obliged to give you my name, that's
You're not
why.
obliged.
Well,
However,
exactly.
when I approached you to engage in a conversation, and you were quite defensive.
I actually didn't want a conversation. If you had just gone into the police station, I would have left because I got the footage that I wanted.
Yeah, but you can understand that obviously, given the fact that you're sat here filming a police station, it's quite concerning for us.
Why?
It's for officer safety.
What am I going to do?
You're
What
about to
officer safety?
publish a video showing the registration plate of police cars in a police station.
They're in public all day, every single day. Police cars. There's no privacy in public. That's why there's CCTV cameras, millions of them all around the country. So I don't think your colleague really should stand there and threaten to take away my camera equipment.
He didn't threaten to take
Yes, he
away
did.
your camera equipment.
Yes, he did. It's on
He
camera.
stated.
Is this a threat?
When one officer concedes he's within his rights, that should have been the natural endpoint. Instead, the justification pivots again, this time to officer safety, tied to the idea that capturing vehicle plates is somehow dangerous. That argument doesn't withstand scrutiny. Police vehicles operate on public roads. Their registrations are visible to anyone driving behind them, parked beside them, or walking past them. A registration mark isn't a confidential data source. It's a visible identifier designed for public display. You can't retroactively turn something openly displayed every day into sensitive intelligence just because a camera is involved.
You're trying to scare me into, I don't want my phone to be taken. So in order for me to give up my details that I'm not obliged to give you.
If you believe that we wouldn't be able to seize your phone, why would you be recording live to a cloud so that when your phone is taken?
Oh, when my phone's taken?
Well, that's what you said.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
when my phone's... That's why I'm recording to the cloud and not onto my phone.
You said that you record so that if somebody takes your phone,
Yep.
that the videos aren't there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I've still got my evidence, because I can't get your evidence off of your camera if this goes to court for me to get all my camera equipment back.
Why would you assume this is going to go to court?
Because if you're going to take my camera equipment, then it's going to go to court, isn't it?
Why would you assume we were going to take?
Because you would have unlawfully arrested me and unlawfully taken my camera equipment. You're trying to scare me into giving you my details that I'm not obliged to give you. I'm not obliged to give you my details. Well, I don't need to account. I'm sat here doing something perfectly lawful from a public space.
Labeling it a stop and account after the fact doesn't tidy it up. That tactic is meant for brief engagement where an officer records what someone says voluntarily. It isn't a shortcut to personal details, nor does it carry compulsory powers. If there was nothing specific for him to explain in the first place, calling it that doesn't magically create a basis. The surprise at the mention of court says even more when someone points out that arrest and seizures have to survive judicial scrutiny. That shouldn't be shocking. It's the standard test for using those powers. The fact it catches her off guard suggests the consequences hadn't been thought through. Once you invoked detention or confiscation, stepping into territory that has to be defensible beyond the pavement.
the Terrorism Act
He merely
and
stated
threaten
that
and
as
trying to
police officers,
intimidate
not
me
giving their details is a necessity that we can use for an arrest.
by making me think he's going to take away my camera
He
equipment.
didn't say that it was a threat that he was going to arrest you at all.
Okay. Am I being detained?
Sorry?
Am I being detained?
No, it's merely a stop and
Okay.
count. I mean, if you do leave, obviously we do have powers.
Are you going to use those powers if I leave then? Because
It would
you
mean-
just said I'm not being detained, so I'm free to go.
You're not being detained.
So am I
no.
free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest you on the grounds of suspicion of an offence.
What offence?
My colleague is speaking to my sergeant at the moment.
So, am I free to go?
That's obviously your decision.
And I'm not being detained?
That's obviously your decision.
And I'm free to leave? Am I free to leave? What's that mean?
As I've just explained to you, it was a stop and account.
Have I broken any laws?
At the moment, you are filming a police station.
That's not breaking the.
which
That's
was
not
quite
breaking the law.
concerning, Which is why me and my colleague came over to speak to you.
That's not breaking the law, though, is it?
As I explained to you, my colleague has basically gone to speak to my sergeant
Yeah.
to discuss.
Right. Are you
level.
are you detaining me here?
I'm not detaining
Right.
you.
So am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Why?
I would suggest that you didn't leave.
Why?
I have answered your question. What you do next is up to you.
Well, I know what next is up to me, but you just said I'm not being detained, so therefore I'm free to leave because I've broken no laws.
The next move is yours. I've
Oh.
asked you to wait.
Okay, I don't want to wait. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go home. Okay?
The clearest moment in this entire exchange comes when Pine Key asks a simple status question. Am I detained? The answer is no. That answer carries weight. If someone is not detained, they are free to leave. It's that straightforward. Yet, the instant he acts on that freedom, the language shifts to, I have the power to stop you, and even threats of arrest based on unnamed suspicion. That contradiction is more revealing than anything said earlier. Powers don't switch on and off depending on whether someone starts walking away. There's also a wider issue here about how loosely serious terms were used. An arrest was floated without a defined offense. Seizure of equipment was mentioned without a clear statutory basis. Terrorism legislation was suggested as a fallback. When significant powers are spoken about so casually, it weakens their legitimacy. These aren't conversational tools. They carry strict conditions for a reason. What closes this episode isn't confrontation, it's exposure. Walks away because and there was nothing concrete holding him there. No detention properly established. No offense identified. No lawful foundation that could survive beyond that pavement. The uniforms remained, the powers were mentioned, but the substance never appeared. And when someone can simply walk off after all that talk of arrest and seizure, tells you exactly how solid the ground really was. If you found value in this breakdown, make sure you like the video. Share it and subscribe to support the channel and help keep this kind of accountability in the spotlight. I'm the UK Assessor. See you guys later.